Hey, what's up, Animosity? It's the February the 23rd. We're having our February podcast right now, and we've got a lot to discuss. And obviously, the biggest thing and the biggest news that's going on right now is we've had the big structure change and the rank change. We also have Rift. For those of you who pre-ordered, the Head Start launch is coming up, and in March, Earthrise will be having their territorial warfare opening up. So obviously, a lot of things to talk about tonight. And I'll let Civic start talking about the structure of animosity that has changed.
All right, just to give a quick general overview. First, if you haven't checked out the post on the front page, go ahead and check that out. That contains most of the information that's there. If you have any questions, then you can post in that thread there, and we'll try to answer them. Essentially, what we set out to do was to make our system a simpler system because the current system had become really complicated and there was a lot of micromanagement that had to be done. And with now that we're getting in these different games, we need to be spending less time being forum whores and be spending more time in game melting faces.
Exactly. And one of the big things about that is we will no longer be accepting applications for any of the games that we will be playing. That includes Star Wars The Old Republic and Guild Wars 2. We are no longer accepting applications for that. Now, that does not mean we will not be playing those games. We've already indicated to everybody, so don't have any worries if you were planning to play Star Wars or Guild Wars 2. We will be playing those games when they come out, but we will not be recruiting for them because we are now a in-game guild. So we will only be recruiting in the games that we are currently playing.
Right. So essentially, what we did was we kept the guild leaders rank the same, obviously, and we merged the division leader and officer ranks into one rank called officers, and together they're a leadership team that will work to make sure that the games that the guild plays will be organized, organizing events and things like that, and fulfilling positions like class leaders and rating leaders, PvP leaders, and also assigning positions like that. Um, we ended up having to do that pretty much anyways in Earthrise and Rift, and it turned out to work quite well. So that was it's not like we're going in here not knowing what's going to happen. From what we've seen in Earthrise and Rift with our guild, it seemed to work quite well. So that kind of became the system that we're going to go with. But also introducing the Animosity Core rank, which is an invite-only rank, which essentially ended up replacing the Sergeant rank, and we got rid of the Sergeant rank. The Animosity Core position is still a member position. It's not a leader position, but it is an invite-only rank, and it is reserved for people have dedicated a lot of time with the guild. They've showed a really high level of skill in game, and they also are pretty friendly and can get along with everybody else in the core group. And what we're trying to do is to use that rank to build up a really efficient and strong roster that we can go into every game that we're going to play in the future with that roster.
Now, for the first month, everybody has pretty much been set to member rank. Then we're going to eventually start sending out those invites to people that we believe are the Animosity Core. Once again, as Evic was saying, there are three main variables that we're looking at when we invite members into the core. One, how long they've been with the guild. Two, how much skill they have. And three, how well they get along with the Animosity Core as well as the leadership.
Right, so we basically merged the trial member all the way up through senior member into one rank, and the color is orange for it. It's all there to simplify things, and we're just trying to consolidate everyone into one rank. That rank is mainly reserved for people that we pick up in-game, because we'll be recruiting for all the games that we play when we are in-game, and anyone that we pick up will be set to that rank. Anyone who plays with the guild that's not a core member will be at that rank. So as time goes by and people are in the guild and they're an Animosity member and a new game comes out and our guild moves on to a new game, people that are at that Animosity member rank, if they decide not to play the game that the guild is playing, then they are simply set to the inactive roster. Essentially, the difference between Animosity member and inactive member is Animosity member is active in game, which means you're in the in-game guild and you are playing on a regular basis. An inactive member is just the group of people who are not currently playing the game that we are playing. And the friend of the guild rank remains intact just as it was, and it's the exact same. And that's pretty much the ranking structure.
Now, we've got the Rift game is coming out. For those of you who pre-ordered, tomorrow, which is February 24th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, the servers will open up, and we'll be able to start playing Rift. Now, the server that we have selected is Reclaimer, and of course, the faction we are going Defiance. We usually always go, the Rebel or Evil or Criminal faction.
And that's when the grind starts. And we're really going to be trying to push to get to max level as fast as possible. We're also going to be trying on within an hour after the game comes out to be getting first guild on the server created. There's a bunch of posts in the Rift members area with information there that everyone needs to check out, including PvP times and PvE times. All right, so PvE, PvP, crafting, and gathering. There was a couple of questions and confusion about this, so we can clear this up. I did make a post about it. There's PvE raids. We are going to be pushing PvE raid content. This was a surprise to some people as we are a hardcore PvP guild, but as every experienced PvPer knows that sometimes, PvP a lot of times comes down to gear and what gear you have. And depending on how this game works, we're not sure yet, but most likely there will be some items and gear that you can get in PvE that will be better than the PvP gear that you can obtain through favor in-game. So PvE raids are going to take place 5 days a week, and they're going to be about 3 to 4 hour long raids once we get enough people at max level. If you are interested in being a part of this team, this is not a requirement of the guild, but if you are interested, you can contact Desi, and he'll set you up on the DKP roster for Rift, and get you all the information you need to know so you can be a part of that. Next is PvP, which obviously is required by the guild. It is not required while you're leveling up. That's strictly optional, but once everyone gets to max level, you should be doing PvP in the battlegrounds every day, preferably picking up a 5-man team within the guild. There's also scheduled PvP times 7 days a week that people can partake in, and they will be rewarded. Those PvP events will reward DKP for people, so their time spent PvPing will be beneficial to PvE raids, and we want to try to bridge the gap between the two. So we get everyone getting involved with both. There will be short PvP times, about an hour long, every weeknight. And they vary in time, so it should work for everybody. And they will all occur before or after our raids. And those will last for an hour, and we'll most likely just end up splitting up into 5-man teams and going into the battlegrounds. On Saturdays, every Saturday, we'll have a major PvP event in the afternoon, Eastern Standard Time. And with that event, what we will be doing is raiding enemy cities, organizing a group for battlegrounds, or trying to go find other guilds that are trying to do a raid rift out in the open world and try to mess around with them while they're doing that. We also may have like dueling competitions. If they open up an arena, we could set up our own like in-guild 3-on-3s and 2v2s. We'll see what they add in the coming weeks here.
Now,
but that is a requirement of the guild. Everyone should be PvPing outside of those defined PvP event times. Pretty much once you're max level, and if you're not involved with an event, any organized event, you should be trying to pick up with another 4 people in the guild and PvPing to get your rank up. Moving on to crafting. This is not required by the guild. If you are interested in doing a craft profession, you need to contact AVS. He's the crafting leader for Rift. And finally, gathering. This is also not required by the guild. However, if you pick up a gathering skill and you use it while you level up and you use it end game, and the gathering skills are mining, foraging, and skinning. And if you do those while you level up and at max level, and you send those mats to the craft leads, they in turn will put you on a list, and you will be on that list to receive gear and items that they craft. So this includes item enchantments, which are huge end game because of the stat increases that they give. Bags, which save you a lot of money because bags are a little expensive. And then obviously gear and weapons and rings, things like that. They are all very beneficial. So it's not required if you don't want to gather, but it will be beneficial for your character in PvP to get some of that stuff.
I think that's it for Rift here. So we're going to go
Right.
ahead and start talking about Earthrise here. Just a real quick announcement for those of you who are in our Earthrise division. The first thing is obviously is that, as you're probably already aware, territorial warfare will be starting up in March sometime. We're expecting it sometime around mid-March, but who's to say? There is a plan of what we are going to do in territorial warfare. Make sure you get with an officer or somebody, and they will discuss with you basically what the plan is for territorial warfare and what bases we have pretty much marked on the map that we want to take. Not only that, we do have a couple blue labels now. Make sure you look at that. We obviously, since this is a public podcast, we won't be declaring our blues just yet, but for those of you in the guild, you'll have a chance to take a look at the costs and see who's on blue listing now. And that's it for our podcast for February.
We'll see you out in Battlefield, and we'll see you next month for the next podcast.